Hello, Atlas Gaming here, bringing you another burner guide. Today we have something a little bit different. We have the Unified Nergal, which is a single ship that can do every single burner, except for the bases. So it can do all the agents and teams, which makes it a single frigate that can do all the frigate ones. It's really useful for getting into burners. It is not the best solution for every single one, but it's a good solution for most of them, and it actually does better than some mission ships that I've been using, or some burner ships that I've been using. So we found some improvements going through this journey on this one. But we'll kind of go through this and why we chose the Nergal and the skills. We're going to go through this in a slightly different order. I'm not going to go over the fits for each burner. Actually, you know what? I should. Will require additional editing, but we'll go over the fit for each burner just before the video. Okay, so we're going to do this one a little bit different. I'm going to go over the skills first, and then we'll go over the fits, and then we'll do the demonstration last, because the skills are the same for all of them, and the fits are different for each one. They vary up a little bit, and then we'll do the demonstration as the third part. So you'll get the skills right now, and then you'll get the demonstration with the fit for the just before the demonstration. I'll go through and I'll talk about all the fits really quick. That's not the screen I want. I want to open up the fitting window here. We picked the Nergal because it has some fantastic bonuses. The Assault Frigate bonus gives it an additional maximum range and maximum damage multiplier bonus, which is huge and allows us to break some of the tanks. Some of them do require this skill to be trained all the way, and that range is incredibly helpful. Also, being able to get that last 20% is really helpful, and the additional range is really helpful. Of course, being required to fly the Nergal is the Precursor Frigate skill, so it has the 20% base resist on the hull, and the 5% light Entropic Disintegrator damage, which is really helpful. And then in the roll bonus, the only useful thing here is the Micro Warp Drive Signature Radius penalty, which is helpful in only one burner, because we only use the Micro Warp Drive once. The rest of the roll bonuses can generally be ignored for burners. But the Nergal has some pretty strong base resists as well. If we were not simulating fit and we turned off the resistance mods, its base resist profile is really strong at 60, 80, 40, 72. And then with additional hardeners and stuff, you can get additional resists, which is pretty powerful depending on the burner. And that's awesome. And then also, it's an assault frigate, so it benefits greatly from small armor reppers, and we do utilize that. It's really good. It does have a couple downsides. It's kind of bulky and slow compared to things like the Enyo and the Daredevil, so it feels a little clunkier, but it ends up doing pretty well overall. Next, I suppose we'll go over the skills required to operate this ship. It is an armor ship, so you are in armor going to need repair systems trained to 5. The compensation skills are not required. I do recommend, I believe, the Kinetic 1 to 4. I can't remember, but if there's any passive hardeners in the fits, you're going to need that the correlating passive hardener compensation 4. And then, of course, you want mechanics and hull upgrades trained to get the most out of your HP. It gives you additional HP for mechanics and hull upgrades. And then I do not believe that we use plates at all, so armor layering is not required. And then in the navigation tab, we do definitely need to have navigation trained to 5. This gives you subwarp velocity. This is essential for the Grista burner and and chasing down some of the teams, and it's super helpful. And then the last one is going to be, or the other one that you're going to need, is high-speed maneuvering. No, it's not high-speed maneuvering. Where's it at? Fuel conservation, sinus field. What is it? It's acceleration control. That's right. It makes your afterburners and micro warp drives more effective. I believe you can get away with this to 4, but 5 is highly recommended. I know it's a hard skill to train, but it is recommended to have the 5 for chasing down the Grista burner and for having the afterburner with all the afterburner fits. It's super helpful and it gets you the speed requirements. I think you can get away with it to 4, but 5 is highly advised. In the engineering tab, we're definitely going to need advanced weapon upgrades 4 and weapon upgrades either to 4 or 5. I can't remember how tight all the fits are. And then capacitor systems operation and capacitor management are going to be required to deal with the Bloodrider's burner at least. I don't think it's required for any of the others because the fights are so short that it doesn't run out of cap. Most of the fights are no longer than 3 minutes and 30 seconds if you do them correctly. You're going to need CPU management trained to 5 and also it's hard to separate out the capital skills on this. Which one is it? It was power grid management 5 because you need that additional power grid. In targeting, you don't really need much. They don't jam or do anything to you. Long range targeting is nice, but it's not required. Gunnery is where things get a little bit interesting. We do need small disintegration specialization to at least 1 to use the T2 ammo, as most of the burners use T2 ammo to do. We're huge fans of Occult. It's super helpful. And then we also use Mystic in a couple of the engagements, which is awesome. And then, of course, you would need small disintegrators, or small precursor weapons trained to 5 to use the small disintegrator specialization. And then in the drone tab, we're going to need, we're not going done with gunnery. You also want your support skills trained to 4 or 5. I think you can get away with most of them being 5. One of the support skills that is not needed so much is the one that is fall off range. It's not sharpshooter, it's trajectory analysis, I think. RST. Trajectory analysis is accuracy fall off. You do not need that to support weapons for the Triglavian guns, because they function purely on optimal range. So motion prediction, sharpshooter, rapid firing, and then the guns use capacitors. So there's one that saves you control burst, saves you capacitor on your gunnery use. Of course, gunnery to 5 is required for the tier 2 weapons. And then there's a couple like rapid firing that help out a lot. But do get your support skills up. And then in Spaceship Command, we are going to need to have Assault Frigates trained to 5 and Precursor Frigate trained to 5. Assault Frigates, you might be able to get away with some of them to 4. You probably won't be able to do all of them, but all the missions that we ram or orbit, you should be able to get away with 4. But any mission where we have to keep at range or reach a certain distance to target, you're going to want the Assault Frigate to 5. And then in rigging, we use armor rigging. So armor rigging trained to 4 would be highly advised, since we use an auxiliary pump in every single fit. So the rigs stay the same. In every single fit that we do, we keep the rigs the same, and it's super easy. So auxiliary nano pump 2 and a capacitor control circuit. This serves us in every single mission. And then you do want to keep note of what your base ranges are. So if we shut this off and look at our range, you want to know what every ammo type does for range for your setup. So for us, Occult, that's 7.3. Mystic is at 6, I think that's 18 with max skills. Tetryon goes to 8.6. Meson is one that we very rarely use, but it goes to 22, and it can be used as a replacement for Mystic. And then Baryon is a common one that I like to use against Sancha because of its really high tracking. With the 14-kilometer range, with the optimal range computer, it reaches Sancha, which is an interesting setup. But I suppose I'll just go down the list in order for fits. So what you want to do is between each burner, you want to refit your ship and make sure it's fit correctly. And I forgot a skill. It's very important to have drone skills on this because a lot of the fits use drone skills. There are 5 drone support skills: drone durability, drone navigation, drone interfacing, drone sharpshooting, and there's one other one. Light drone operation is going to be wanting to be to 5 to be able to use the tier 2 light drones. And then you're going to want to train all the racial drone skills to 2 or 3 at least. 4 is nice, but it's definitely not required. But that's all that you need for your drone support skills. We are operating really close, so you don't need the drone control range or anything like that. You just need to make sure that you have okay drone skills, because they do help a good handful of the fits. And we'll go ahead and go through these in order. We'll start with the Angel one. Burner Angel. So the fit's fairly simple. You'll see in the demonstration, we just kind of web it and keep it range 6 kilometers. We use a Coreli A-type Afterburner and 2 Stasis Webifiers with our 1 Veles Light Entropic Disintegrator. This is used on all fits, by the way. And then we have a Centii A-type Small Armor Repper, an Overdrive Injection System, and a Multispectrum Energized Membrane. I would debate that you can switch the Overdrive Injection System for an Entropic Disintegrator if you want to overheat your Afterburner in this one. You don't need to overheat your Afterburner because you do have range control with the dual web and the Afterburner. But I'm not sure if the Overdrive Injector is required. I haven't done enough science yet, but the fight's really easy with this fit. You don't have to overheat, and we did in the demonstration, and it really didn't help out a lot. Alright, so this is Angel Burner, or the drum. It's really easy. You just lock them up. You're going to keep at range 6 kilometers. Turn on your prop mod, web, and fire, and then you're going to overheat the Afterburner for a couple cycles while you pull a little bit of range on him. And then you should be good. Once you start firing, you just keep at range, and that is it. It is super simple. Just slowly spool up and kill him. It's very important that the range is kept, because you have the additional range. It'll mitigate the incoming damage. And the cool thing about Burner Drumiel is he has very little health, but he's got a bit of regen. So as soon as we go over his regen with the charge up, he just melts. And it just takes a moment for that to happen. We have a keep at range set to 6 kilometers. That's our default keep at range. And just like that, he's starting to melt. You see it happening? We've gone over on his reps, and now he's going to die very quickly. And that's it. That's all there is for Burner Drumiel. As you can see, his shields are broke, and he's just about done at some point soon. Takes just a little bit longer than the Daredevil, but like I said, it's unified with the rest of them, and it's super simple. All right, and that's it. The next one is going to be Bloodriders. This is actually the fit that I have on my Bloodriders Burner fit, and it's pretty much the same fit. I think that there's an auxiliary power control to support a slightly larger cap battery to make up for the fact that we don't have 2 capacitor control circuits. But other than that, it's almost identical to my the fit that I'm currently running, which is super easy to do. You just kind of sit in the room, dual web it, and then turn on your Entropic Disintegrator and your Repper, and then you survive and you have no problem. This has excessive cap, but if you don't have a 5% cap implant, this is more than enough. You need plus, so for this burner, for the Bloodriders burner, you need plus 14.6 with the cap battery. This Capacitor Warfare, or plus 14 or greater, will do you fine. So you don't need 14.6. Just plus 14 or higher, you'll be fine. All right, we got Agent Bloodrider. This one's really easy. All you have to do is activate the modules. You lock up the Bloodrider agent, and you lock up the modules, and then you just kind of wait for it to happen. We're gonna go ahead and turn all these modules on, and then we just kind of don't care anymore. It'll all just die. I'm gonna go play a couple other accounts while we wait for that to happen. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna pay attention to something else now. But this one's super easy. It only takes about 2.5 minutes for it to break. It'll look really slow for a while. We don't use drones because it's not friendly to drones. We could bring drones if we wanted to, though. speed things up a little bit. But this ends up taking about 2.5 to 3 minutes. You're basically waiting for it to spool up and kill the other two. But this one's super easy. Just kind of wait for it to slowly die. And then our damage spools up on it. And we end up in an alright place. But I don't really pay attention to this one, as it always tanks. There's no overheat to do or anything. It's completely couch stable, and I do, again, have an entire video on this one already, because this is how I've been running it forever. The fit doesn't deviate from my normal Bloodrider's burner. It's the same rigs and everything, so it's really easy. Nothing changes between this one and my my normal run. So I already have an entire video explaining why the fit works and how it works. With the demonstration side as well, but I wanted to include a demonstration for this in this video because you guys may not have seen the other video, but it is there for you guys to watch. So as you can see, once this damage actually spools up and we start doing about 500 plus, he starts dying a lot faster. He just has a lot of HP to chew through, and that really makes it really good for the Nergal ones. It actually gets to spool up and do its damage. You can also try and approach it to mitigate tracking a little bit, but I don't even find that worth it. It just dies at about the same rate regardless. You do occasionally miss. It's not a big deal. And as soon as his armor runs out, he will flash over and die. We're getting up to about 600 DPS. And he's out of armor, so that's gonna go really quick. And that's it for the Bloodrider agent. The next one is I want to do the agents, so Bloodriders, and then Sancha. This one's actually up for debate. We have 3 fits that are viable. This one's really easy. This is not the one that I demonstrated, but you use the Afterburner to approach it and overheat the Federation Navy Stasis Webifier for 2 cycles. And that catches it and lowers the transversal significantly. And then it'll stay within 14 kilometers. It's a little tricky, but it does work. And then that works. And then we have an alternative. I call this the lazy fit. Rather than loading Mystic, we would load Baryon and use the tracking computer with a Repper and a EM Hardener with 2 Entropic sinks. This doesn't give us range control at all, but what this gives us is really good tracking with the Baryon ammo and the optimal range of targeting painter. And then there's another variant that I was told to try, which is using 2 Federation Navy Stasis Webifiers and overheating them with Mystic ammo with approaching the Sancha. So there's a few variants of this. I personally like the one that I have labeled lazy here, and this is the one that I'm going to put up on my Eve workbench because I know it's tested. And I've tested it several times, and I find it very fast and reliable. And then in the drone bay for this one, we carry Acolytes. They add EM damage to the Sancha, and that is super helpful. And then we do add drones for most burners. We do it for Sancha. We do it for the Bloodrider's burner. We carry warriors, and then for the all the teams, we carry drones as well. Recording. Let's go. So burner succubus is really easy with the fitting that we have. All we're going to do is we're going to overheat our hardener, lock them up. We're going to load up Baryon, and then we use the optimal range. The important thing is that we have 16 kilometers of range with the optimal range script, and we just fire. And then we can approach him if we want to start moving and get a little bit less transversal. And then once we're firing and once things are kind of established, we will go ahead and shoot the drones out. And the drones will speed this up. This ends up happening really fast, and we don't have to chase it or anything. We just kind of kill it because it tracks and it works. It's a really easy fight, and I enjoyed this quite a bit. It just ends up working. He's shooting my drones? No, he's not. I thought he was for a second because they're pairing up with him. But no, he's still shooting us. If he starts shooting your drones, you want to pull him in immediately, as he will kill them very rapidly. But as you can see, this is going fairly quickly. It's not a long turnaround or anything like that. And then grabbing the loot is 100% optional. It is going to be 16 kilometers from you, and you have no front mod. I suppose if you wanted, you might be able to fit a... actually, no, you can't. You don't have a CPU. But this works out really well. I was about to say you could fit a tractor beam, but it doesn't quite work. Anyways, he's in armor. He's going down. Go ahead and turn off that heat there. And as soon as he's done, since he's so far away, I'm not going to worry about loot. And that's it. Next up will be Gristas. Gristas, we again the same rigs. We have the Veles Entropic Disintegrator. This is going to be the same disintegrator for all fits. And then we have a Coreli A-type micro warp drive, a Republic fleet small battery, True Santia warp scrambler, 2 overdrive injection systems, a Kinetic armor hardener, and a Coreli A-type small armor repair. And how this one works is you kind of chase it down. I do show very well in the demonstration. You can easily burn this out. But this is why you need such high navigation skills. Because even with the skills as they are, the burner goes 3,500 meters a second. And the fact that you only go 32 cold means that you have to catch it while hot. And you only are guaranteed 3 cycles of running hot at 46 kilometers a second, or 4.6 kilometers per second, meaning that the chase sequence is very close and intense in this fit. And that's why we have the True Santia warp scrambler. So that we get the additional range. You always want to run the hot for the first cycle as you catch it, and it is possible that you burn this out doing this. It's not 100%, but it's very easy to do the log off trick. With myself, if this is offline and burnt out, and this is offline or turned off, and this is turned off, and the battery burns out, I still remain cap stable with a 5% cap implant in my head. Without the cap implant, you may not be cap stable. I'm not sure. You do want to double check. But if you do burn out on this mission, you can just escape and log off. You just turn on your reppers and orbit the beacon at 5 kilometers, and then you just log off and come back in 10 minutes, and you'll be fine. This ship should never die to the Grista burner. You don't overheat anything in the lows, and you never turn off anything in the lows. So there's no reason this ship should ever die to the Grista burner. And it's a really easy fit to do. I feel like adding that one in, that little note in, would be super helpful. Alrighty, so this one is Agent Grista. With the Nergal being kind of slow like it is, we have to be very careful about our overheat. And the trick is, the magic trick to catch this is to hit approach right away, and then run your micro warp drive for 1 cycle cold. So we run it 1 cycle cold here, and what this does is this kind of speeds us up. And then we're going to start overheating it. It also lines everything up and gets us into position so that we're just directly approaching him now. Rather than trying to turn with the hot cycle, we're not wasting our heat. We only get 2 cycles of hot guaranteed. So there's the first cycle, and here's the second cycle. We need to get within 14 kilometers to tackle it with the scrambler. And that's very important. So now we're not guaranteed the third cycle. We could burn out here. So this needs to be shut off. It's going to get shut off. We got the scram. We can turn off the overheat on the scram. We'll catch it. As long as the scram doesn't burn out, we're good. And now that we're approaching him, our micro warp drive did burn out, but that's okay. We still have the scram on him. Sometimes it doesn't burn out, but just like this, it does burn out in 3 cycles. So it can take 3 hits of heat. So that cold cycle is incredibly important to get that initial speed up. And we just caught him actually quite early. So we can do it within 3 cycles, it's guaranteed. And then we just kind of start firing at him. We do not use drones in this one for the specific reason that he likes to switch to drones. And when he switches to drones, it gets really bad. We're still going to continue approaching him. We're a little bit faster than him with the prop mods turned off. But we want our transversal to stay at 0, which approaching him does. And as long as we stay in range, we do full damage. It's super simple. And now we just kind of slowly wait for him to die. We've caught him, we're doing the damage. It looks like we're doing nothing, but again, as always, the Nergal does spool up and add more damage as time goes on, and it will eventually just kind of flash over, which is a term that I've been using all day today with the Nergals. But it's a pretty easy fit to fly. You just got to make sure that you catch it, and if you fail to catch it, you would right click on the beacon for the site, and you would orbit this beacon at 10 kilometers and log off for 10 minutes. And then come back. If you log off for 10 minutes, your ship is stable. And what will happen is you'll survive as long as you're orbiting the beacon. You'll survive for that 10 minutes. And then this timer expires here. And then you warp off. And then when you log back in, you'll be at the acceleration gate. You can repair your your Micro Warp Drive, and then come back and try again. If you fail to catch it, if the Warp Scrambler burns out, or if this burns out without catching it, you can have that option to get back in here. Do make sure that before you do that, your cat battery did not burn out, because if that burnt out, you can get yourself in some trouble. It can happen. I've seen it happen. I've actually seen this burn out the cat battery and not the Micro Warp Drive. It's really weird, but it can happen. And if you're not cap stable and you're having to manage your reps to do the 10-minute logout trick, start asking in local or friends or in the Hitless Gaming channel for some help. And there's a chance that somebody can come save your ship if you get stuck on this mission. But it's pretty easy to do the logout trick if you don't have help. But that being said, as soon as we hit a critical amount of damage, it breaks and dies, and it just happens pretty quickly. But that's it for Burner Worm. And then the next fit is the Serpentis Burner. This one, you just kind of chill. You load up the, I want to say you load up Baryon ammo, you web it, you approach it, and you shoot it. That's it. You may need to overheat, but we have the Veles. We have a small tractor beam to scoop up the wreck. Then we have 2 Caldari Navy Stasis Webifiers. We have a Federation Navy and a Caldari Navy Stasis Webifier. And then we have a Republic Fleet small cat battery, a Centii C-type Kinetic Hardener, a Centii A-type Armor Repper, a single Entropic Sink, and a second Kinetic Hardener. Having 2 Hardeners after the Hardener nerf is super helpful. And then, you just turn everything on and do it. It's really easy. So this is Agent Serpentis Daredevil. All we have to do is we just have to approach him and fire everything. That is all. It's a really easy one. We just approach and fire. We do have to load a different ammo type, which I believe is going to be Baryon. Yep, so load Baryon, approach and fire. That's all. Super simple. And then once he has aggro on you, you're going to go ahead and use your drones and fire. And then if we're uncomfortable in tank, we can always overheat the Harps, which I'm going to go ahead and start doing now. I feel like it is necessary. And just like that, he's going to melt. This one actually goes really fast because he doesn't have a lot of health like the Bloodrider or or a lot of reps like any of the teams. So this one goes really fast. And he's almost dead. We're almost dead too. We can overheat a little bit more. And we'll be okay. The general idea is that we outlive him. And he's about to die. And then this fit actually has a tractor beam on it. So what we can do is we can tractor in the wreck after it's dead to check the wreck. And go ahead and turn off all of the heat. Lock this up. Pull in our drops. And that's it. A minute and a half later, the burner is complete. And then I believe now we are on to teams, because Serpentis is the last agent. So for teams, we use versus Enyo. We use a Federation Navy Stasis Webifier, Republic Fleet Cat Battery, an Afterburner, the Coreli A-type Afterburner, the Armor Repper, and a Kinetic Hardener. And then we have 2 Entropic Heat Sinks. And then we just kind of orbit it at 6.5 kilometers and shoot it down with Occult. It does really well. All right, so this one's really easy. You just orbit Enyo at 6.5. Gonna grab an orbit on him, turn on the prop mod, turn on our reppers, and lock him up. Prop mod's on, webs are coming on. Then we're going to be webbing him up here in just a moment, as soon as he's in web range, and then we're going to start firing. That's pretty much it. Once we're in range to fire, there we go. And start working on him. Again, we're just orbiting at 6.5 kilometers. After we get a few rounds on him and get the damage rolling, we'll go ahead and launch our warriors and put the warriors on, and then he just kind of goes down. It is literally that simple. Orbit 6.5 and shoot and fire. That's it. So this one actually dies really quick, and it's because of our damage profile. Its lowest resistance is explosive, and we do a lot of explosive damage, which is nice. So it has really bad explosive resist. Even though it has good resist in the other categories, its explosive resist is terrible, allowing us to punch into this really fast. Not quite as fast as the armor, but it is still surprisingly fast. And just like that, Enyo is done. Well, I lied. It's taken a little bit longer than that, but it's about done. And just like that, it's done. Next up would be Hawk. This one's really easy. You take down one of the Logi, and then you take down, after you take down one of the Logi, you kill the Hawk. Again, with the Federation Navy Stasis Webifier, Battery, and Afterburner. And then you have a C-type Kinetic Hardener, a Centii A-type Repper, and a second Kinetic Hardener. And so basically what we did is we dropped a Kinetic Hardener for a, or one of the heat sinks for a Hardener between the last fit. And it's pretty much the same fit. Alright, so this is a Namek Team Hawk. It's really easy. We're going to approach the first Phantom, and we're going to turn all of our modules on. We're going to lock up all three of them. And like I said, we're going to approach that first Phantom. Right, click and approach. And then we're going to overheat our prop mod to catch it. And then we're also going to use Baryon ammo, which has 14-kilometer range. And then start in on that first Phantom right away. Again, we're approaching it and keeping our velocity up. And as we approach this Phantom, our damage will charge up and we'll kill that guy first. We do want to kill one Phantom first. It does make the sight faster. You end up using less ammo overall than if you just focus on the Hawk. Also, the Hawk is really difficult to kill. This knocks out about half of its reps. It's a little bit easier to break than the Hawk first. And then after we kill the Phantom, we are going to switch to approaching the Hawk. We're going to web him, load Occult, and shoot the Hawk. We're also going to overheat the Afterburner for a cycle or two to get in Occult range after we web up the Hawk here. You'll see the Phantom's about to be dead. Now the Phantom's dead, we're going to go approach the Hawk. We'll web up the Hawk. We'll load up our Occult ammo. We can overheat the prop mod to get closer because we want to be approaching him. And once we're within 6, we'll go ahead and start firing our guns. And now we're within 6, he'll web us. We'll take a little bit more damage at this time. Once you get into web range of the Hawk also webs you. Which slows you down a bit and mitigates some of your damage mitigation. So you might have to overheat your Hardener, but that's okay if you do. And then we just kind of clean it up at this point. Now there's only one Phantom, and Hawk will die as you spool up. He'll die faster and faster. We do want to turn off the overheat on the Afterburner before we burn it out. We just kind of give him a hug with Occult and call it good. And just like that, as soon as the shields are down, he kind of flashes over and dies. At this point, we're almost fully charged up, and yep, that's it. Pull in your drones, check the loot. He can drop some Caldari Navy Ballistics controls, Caldari Navy shielded adaptive invulns, drop all kinds of nice stuff. You do want to check his rec. And then, yep, that's it for Burner Hawk. Or the Namek Team Hawk, I should say. And next up, we have the Jaguar. This one's interesting. We have a dual web and an Afterburner rather than a battery. And then we have a capacitor power relay to make up for the battery. But this is so that we have range control. We need the second web to control range. And then we have an explosive hardener, an entropic heat sink, the capacitor power relay, and a Centii A-type small armor wrapper. Alright, so this is a Namek Team Jaguar. All we're going to do is we're going to orbit him at 6.5, turn on our Afterburner. We do have to run our Hardener hot, but that's okay. It can run hot for quite a while. And then we also turn on our wrapper before we forget. We're just going to lock up the Jaguar and focus on Jaguar while orbiting him at 6.5, and we should turn out just fine. Go ahead and turn on our Hardener. As soon as we can, we'll web him to have range control, and then start firing once he's in range. And just like that, once we're in range and firing at him, we're going to switch to warriors, throw them out, and fire. And we just kind of wait around here for a couple minutes while it dies. Super, super simple and easy. And this one takes about 2.5 minutes as well, just like the Vengeance. Both the Vengeance and this one take about 2.5 minutes, and they're really easy to do. You just kind of have to wait out this the spool up time, and it will finish pretty easily. We're currently recording for YouTube. Shifty, thank you for the raid. Say hi to YouTube. We're working on a Unified Nergal video. Everybody coming in, thank you, thank you. And Goomba, I will answer your question in just a moment, as soon as we're done killing this guy and demonstrating how to do it with the Unified Nergal. There's a really easy kill, and he's just about to die. Remember, as our damage spools up, we do more and more damage, and things die really, really fast. As soon as we break the active reps from the 2 bursts, it just kind of flashes over and he dies. This is a much calmer way of doing it than I have in my my actual guide. I'll probably have to update the actual Jaguar video that I have, because I've been using this a fit similar to this, but this fit feels a little bit safer and easier. The armor's not bleeding quite as much, and he's about to die. I mark right about now is when he kind of flashes over. As soon as his shields are gone, he kind of dies. And that's super simple. Again, about 2 minutes and 45 seconds for the kill. Super simple and easy. And then lastly, we have Vengeance, which is a ram and kill. We use a 2 Entropic heat sinks, a EM Hardener, the Afterburner, our Republic Fleet small cap battery, and a Federation Navy Stasis Webifiers. Alright, so this is a Namek Team Vengeance. It's really easy to do. All you have to do is you lock up the Vengeance, approach it, turn on all your modules, and once you're in range, you're going to go ahead and once you're in range, you're just going to fire at it. You load Occult to close range ammo because you need the full spool damage. I'm going to try this without overheating, see if it's, or how doable it is. Once we can, we'll web it. It doesn't want to be as close to us as we want to be to it. We'll go ahead and start firing as soon as we can, and then once we're firing, we shoot the drones out. Hit F to get the drones doing their job. And we just kind of wait it out. It looks like we're tanking just fine, so I don't think that you need your overheat. If you are not tanking okay, you can always turn on the overheat on your Hardener, and it will feel a little bit better. But it's not necessary, and we just kind of just slowly whittle it down, and at about 500 DPS or 2.5 minutes, this mission will be done. And we're just giving them a hug. That's it. There's not a whole lot going on. All we're doing is we're just approaching it and letting it die. It's really easy to do. You barely have to pay attention to this. The only thing that you want to pay attention to is if you start taking too much armor damage, you would overheat your Hardener, which you can overheat for the duration of the mission without any real problem. But once your Hardener is hot, you mitigate a lot of damage. You'll see the damage will drop significantly, and we'll have a little bit better of a time. And then about now is when he starts like really dying super fast. This is actually faster than the Garmer by about 20 to 30 seconds. And that's it. Burner event is done. Just like that. Check the loot and go home. And that's all there is for this mission. Don't worry, that's a lot of information to take in on the video. You always use drones on the teams. You never use drones against Burner Enyo. Or not Burner Enyo. You never use drones against the Grista Burner. And you never use drones against the Dremel Burner. All the rest you can use drones against. The reason you don't want to use drones against those two is they'll mess up your range and cause you to lose your spool, doubling the mission time, and that's really bad. So there are times where you don't want to use drones, and there are times where you want to use drones. The big note is against Garistas and Angel. You do not use drones. Against the rest, you can. The burners like to shoot your drones if you deploy drones first. So to control the way that they shoot your drones, what you do is you start your on the burner. You wait a few seconds after your damage has started to spool up a little bit, or you've gotten through a little bit of their health. Then you throw the drones on, and all the burners should stick to you. I haven't lost drones doing burners, but I have heard reports that the burner will switch off to your drones and kill off your drones. And that is why we don't do it on the Grista and Angel burner, because if that happens, it can ruin our setup, which is really bad. And then, yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you click like, comment, and subscribe below. And we will see you guys in the next one.